Crystal, and welcome back to the Joy of It podcast. Today, we're talking about something that I think we all have dealt with a time or two before, and that's suffering in silence. Have you ever just really had something so heavy, so hard, but yet you showed up every day? On the outside, everything looked fine, but on the inside, you were crumbling. I have been there more times than I probably even like to admit, where I was literally probably two questions away from a bucket of tears or a complete meltdown. But even in the midst of that moment, even when everything felt heavy, I still had the idea that I can handle it myself. And the truth is, silence hurts. Silence doesn't make the pain go away. It just really makes it louder, especially when you bottle up your feelings, your emotions, your fears, your anxiety. It doesn't disappear. It just festers. And eventually it does come out, and it comes out in unexpected ways. It comes out in frustration, anger, or sometimes even going completely numb. But I realize that's not good for us. But even though it's not good for us, what do we do? Especially if that's your default response. If you've always been the one to handle everything or get through it yourself, like how do you make that change to do something different? I think one of the ways that we do that is finding a safe space or creating a safe space. And one way that we can do that is by finding our person. I believe that everybody should have at least one person in their life that they can be real with. They can be their true, authentic self with, where they don't have to put on a mask. They don't have to, seem so strong or seem like they got everything together. We should have somebody that can handle the real raw. And so let's pause for a second. Do you have that somebody? Do you have somebody that if life really got heavy that you could call? Whether that be a friend, whether that be a family member, whether that be a mentor. If you were spiraling, regardless of the time, do you have somebody that can be able to sit in that with you? Not always somebody that can be able to pull you out, but just be able to be there for you. And so if the answer is no, then maybe it's time to take a deeper look at your circle. And oftentimes when people hear that, we think of immediately like, of cutting people off. And it's not always cutting people off. Sometimes it's just really checking or evaluating your circle, realizing that there may be people that you have to cut off. Maybe there are people that you may need to add to your circle, or maybe it's just you may need to reevaluate. And you may need to reevaluate the people that are closer to you, who have that access to you. Because sometimes there are people in your circle that want to be there for you or want to be that listening ear, but we don't give them opportunity because of who they've always been. And so I say all the time that your circle doesn't have to be super big. It doesn't have to be 1,012 people. Your circle just has to be strong. And a lot of times we'll go through different things to realize that people that we thought would not be able to handle us, they actually can. They just need the opportunity to be able to show up for us. But if we, again, like I said one episode before, if we never give them the opportunity to show up, or we never give them the opportunity to be that person for us, then they won't be able to if we don't give them the opportunity. And then one of the things that I've learned that is, especially for me, is it wasn't always about the people that were in my life. It was more so about me. I was afraid. I allowed my fear and anxiety to keep me from being open and honest and transparent with the people in my life. Fear that I would be judged, fear that I wasn't strong enough, fear that what if they looked at me different? What if I was too much? But in doing that, I really silenced myself. It wasn't about everybody else. It was about me. Vulnerability isn't weakness. Vulnerability is courage. And so sometimes when we speak up, we also allow other people to be vulnerable as well, because they may have been waiting to speak up about a situation, or maybe waiting to you being open and transparent with them gave them the courage to be open and transparent about things that they were going through. And then oftentimes we realize that people go through similar things that we went through, so they can be able to help walk it out with us. And I know you may be like, okay, Crystal, I hear you and I hear what you're saying, but I don't have anybody to talk to. And if that's you, then you still got options. You can reach out to a counselor, reach out to a therapist. You can lean on a faith leader, a pastor, or there are hotlines and online communities, because if you feel like nobody really understands you, I guarantee there's somebody that does. God does. He hears our cries. He hears He hears the silence in our, even when we don't say it out loud. And sometimes he'll put people in place for us, if we just allow those people to be able to be there for us. Because I believe that we were not meant to walk life out alone. We were not meant to carry everything alone. We were not meant to do life alone. But we can't allow fear, we can't allow anxiety to be able to make us feel like we got to carry everything by ourselves. Because that's when, again, you start to suffer in silence, and that's when things get overwhelmed and you start to make bad decisions and you start to do stuff that you probably should not do, just to be able to kill the noise. In a sense, we start leaning on to substances that we should not do. We start moving in places that we should not be, trying to kill a lot of the noise that's going on inside. But if we were really to be open and honest with somebody, then be able to talk about those things, and we don't have to look for everything else on the outside to be able to kill the noise, we'll be able to get through those different situations and stop being triggered by things and stop rolling back into the same the same situation, just different players. I know for me personally, there were times in my life that I swear that I went around that same mountain 1,012 times. I just had different players. Especially when the times where I was not as confident in who that I wasn't as, I was very insecure, low self-esteem. Like, I literally, for years, I can tell you, I literally went around the same mountain. I just had different players in it. And it wasn't until that I got honest with myself, it wasn't until I got honest with my therapist, that I really began to move into, like, really began to break out of it. Because again, if you just bottle all that stuff in, it just festers on the inside. You don't get through it. You don't get past it. You just stuff it all away, and then something happens and it triggers you again, and then everything falls out, and then you got to kind of deal with the fallout of everything. But if you find somebody to be able to talk to, if you find, like I say, whether that's your friends, whether that's your therapist, whether that's whoever, sometimes they'll give you different tools to be able to help you through those things, so you don't have to keep going around the same mountain. You don't have to keep going through the same thing, just with different players. But if by chance you want to be able, because sometimes we want to be able to talk to people, and sometimes we don't want to suffer alone, but we're just, again, afraid. I know that there are times I've gotten better with suffering in silence. I've gotten better to the point that I've gotten better, but yet I ain't there yet. And I can even say recently I was really dealing with, especially with grief. Grief is one of those things that it never lets you go. Like, it just comes around in circles. It comes around in waves. So there was a period of time where I was, this was right around the anniversary of my daddy's death, and I was really struggling. But as much as I was struggling and I wanted to talk to somebody and I wanted to be able to be open and transparent, like, fear just would not let me do it. Like, it was just like, well, they got so much other stuff going on, or I don't want to seem like I'm always the one that needs somebody to help. And I mean, like, it was a gamut of stuff that just kind of came to my mind that kept me from being open and vulnerable. And then like I said, there were times where I was like literally on the phone, like, hey, and then I would just change the subject, because it was just, I couldn't allow myself to be that vulnerable. But one of the things that I did to be able to help me get to a point where I can not suffer in silence as much is to be able to practice what I'm going to say. I know that sounds weird, but that was one of the things that helped me. One of the conversation starters that I had was just to simply say, hey, I am struggling. Can you help me? Or, hey, I'm struggling. I just need you to listen. I don't need any advice. I don't need anything from you. I just want you to listen. And that right there kind of helped out tremendously, because then it took the pressure and anxiety off of, it also took the pressure and anxiety off of the person that I asked as well, because it was like, okay, I ain't got to do nothing but just sit here and listen to you. You're going to figure out all the stuff on your own. I just got to be a warm body to sit here and listen. And so that as I continue to have those moments where I was like, hey, I don't need you to help me fix it. I just need you to listen. It made me more comfortable to be able to be open and be transparent and not have to suffer, not have to handle everything myself. And so I say that I've gotten better because, so this time, as I was telling my story, my bad, I got sidetracked. But when I was recently dealing with the anniversary of my daddy's death, whereas it would be 2-3 weeks before I told anybody, hey, I was really struggling last week about this, or I was really struggling about a month ago with that, or, or even mentioned it at all. Now it's like, okay, man, yesterday was real rough. It ain't the same day. It ain't in the midst of it, but we baby steps. We getting there. Like I'm getting to the point where it's not, 2 years ago this happened, where it's really more so recent. I'm not full out in the midst of a meltdown, Colin, but hey, I'm not on the other side of it all the way, but yet I'm struggling. So it ain't fully in silence, but I got through the hard part. But hey, you can help me with the other part of it. So like I said, we're taking baby steps and we making it work. But if you need steps to be able to break silence, that was one of the things that I did. One of the things that I kind of talked out my conversation, or at least the beginning parts of my conversation. And then before I was able to really be able to be open and transparent with people, I would journal a lot. Like I would, write out exactly the way that I was feeling. And as I got comfortable writing out exactly the way that I was feeling, I think that also made it comfortable for me to have those conversations with people as well. And so one of the other things that I had to do was to do a circle audit. And I talked about a minute ago about evaluating your circle. And like I said, evaluating your circle doesn't always mean cutting people off. But I do think that you should do an audit to figure out if you have the right people in your circle. And if you don't have the right people in your circle, then you may need to bring some additional people in to be able to help you through what you're going through. So you don't have to suffer, or you don't have to take care of everything yourself. You don't have to always be the strong friend. I think that you should also have strong friends that are in your circle. So you ain't always a strong one. You can go lean on another strong one in another area. Because I believe that within our circle, we have people, all of us should be strong in one area or another. So I may be strong in this, you may be strong in that. So I should be able to still lean on my friend for something in the midst of that I'm going through. It may not be that I can lean on you to deal with my marital problems, or I may not be able to lean on you to be able to deal with these type of problems, but I should be able to lean on you to be able to deal with some of my issues or some of my problems. So here's my challenge for you this week is to don't stay silent. Like send that text, make that phone call, or even the journal. Like I said, journal the words that you can't say. Just do one step to be able to break the silence. You may not be able to fully tell everybody or tell somebody right now, but start making the step, because even though silence feels safe, it's not. It's actually very heavy and very scary. But speaking up, even though speaking up can be scary sometimes, it is actually very freeing. And just remember that silence steals your joy, and healing can be on the other side of just one conversation. So I'm going to choose to take that one step and start the conversation, send the text, make the phone call, so that you don't have to suffer in silence or handle everything yourself. Allow your people to be able to be there for you. Allow your circle to be able to show up for you, because if you don't never give them the opportunity to show up, then you're doing your circle and you're doing your friends a disservice that want to be there for you, that want to be that listening ear, that want to be able to help you out just as. Because oftentimes you have your friends that you've been great to, and they want to be able to be just as good of a friend to you as you've been to them, but allow them the opportunity to be able to do that. Allow them the opportunity to be able to be there for you. So thank you for spending the time with me today, and thank you for riding on this journey with me to find the joy in it together. See you next time.